Welcome to the Bolt Brad Show. It is Thursday, March 7th, and Joe Biden, good old Joey, is still the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great to be back with you on this fine Thursday morning. And it is also Joe Biden's State of the Union address this evening, which we might go live, so be on the lookout for that. Not making any guarantees here. We might go live and watch this bad boy together. See how many times Joe Biden fumbles, maybe have a nice drinking game together. Hey, how many times does Joe Biden get lost? How many times does the teleprompter fight back? I don't think any of us are making it out alive. Probably not a drinking game, probably not a good idea on a work week. But in other news, we also have Donald Trump freaking sweeping the floor with Nikki Haley. I mean, goddamn. Trump, settle down, buddy. Yeah, you got to set her down easy. You know what I mean? But damn, he went full force on Nikki Haley on Super Tuesday. Our boy, Mr. 45, hopefully Mr. 47, doing yeoman's work in the political realm. Hopefully he's in the Oval Office this November, but we'll find out. He's looking good, folks. Trump is looking really good. And leading us into our episode for today, you want who's not looking good? Joey right here, just looking just confused as ever, picks up the mic, says he can't take questions because he's going to get in trouble, which again kind of leads you to, well, who's going to tell you you're in trouble? You're the commander-in-chief. You're the guy that runs the show, baby. Who's going to tell you that you're in trouble? Somebody's pulling the strings of this puppet right here, but watch this. It's insane.
I have a lot of questions. I better not start the questions. I'll get in trouble.
What's your message for your Super Tuesday voters? Everyone wants to Super Tuesday. Do you have a message for voters?
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
I have a lot of questions. I better not start the questions. I'll get in trouble.
What's your message for your Super Tuesday voters? Everyone wants to
So you don't see this, but he starts looking confused. This is a different angle. He just looks confused and he just sits there and stares at everybody. Just confused. And why is he out of breath? Can somebody mention that to me? Because I was told that this guy spends about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. And I don't know if it's rehab, physical therapy. They call it exercising. I don't know what it's called for him. But supposedly he does 2 hours of exercising, which is more than a lot of Americans do. If he's exercising, you ain't going to sound like you're out of breath sitting down. And by the way, what's in his mouth all the time? My speculation, one, it's either a cough drop because this guy's always coughing like he's Hillary Clinton, or it's some sort of thing that enhances his cognitive ability to allow him to speak somewhat coherently to the American people. So there's that video clip. And things have gotten so bad with his cognition and just how frail he looks, how sickly he looks. You have former Obama aides are sounding the alarm over a frail and mumbly Biden. This is a major issue for a lot of Americans. Like 60% of Americans are worried about this guy's cognitive level. But don't worry, you guys, he's sharp. He's a good mentor, according to Karine Jean-Pierre in the White House. He pushes them. He asks them questions like, hey, what time is it? Who's the president? So, well, they're warning about his age and saying it's a very real issue. Again, it has nothing to do with his age. It's everything to do with his cognition level. You could be old and just there with it together, and you are knowing what's happening around you. Joe Biden doesn't. So former aides who worked directly with the Vice President Joe Biden in the Obama administration, this is important, worked with him, meaning they know what he looked like when he was somewhat coherent, have called current fears over his age a very real issue, with some alarmed at how he has become more frail and mumbly. So they're saying more frail and mumbly, meaning he was already mumbling when he was vice president, barely making it through that trip of 8 years with Barack Obama. Now it's even worse. So even they see it. And again, not so much to do with his age, because when you talk about age, then that kind of opens up the doorway for anybody that's old. But now the left is taking this, specifically MSNBC, which, hey, kudos to them for being open that they're left-leaning, is saying Trump's speeches should be raising all kinds of questions about his age. So this is the mainstream media pushing back that, oh, well, if we're going to look at Joe Biden's age and his mental cognitive level, shouldn't we be looking at Donald Trump's? Well, no, because Trump is always on the campaign trail. Trump is doing fine. I see Trump talk for hours on end, barely making a mistake, riffing. I mean, the guy's a comedian. He's going off teleprompter. Donald Trump has literally said mid-speech, my teleprompter hasn't been working for the last 30 minutes. I've been riffing this entire time. Joe Biden doesn't do that. They got to tell the dude like, when to take a breath, when to sit down, like who's in the room. And so they have the cojones to say, well, if you're going to be worried about Joe Biden's age, you should be worried about Donald Trump's age. So former President Donald Trump's speeches in recent days have been littered with odd gaffes, bouts of confusion, and verbal trip-ups at a time when President Joe Biden is rightfully being scrutinized for his mental acuity. Trump's missteps should raise similar concerns. Not really. The guy runs a business, travels all around. I don't see him fumbling with his teleprompter, fighting with his words. I don't see him forgetting his name. I just see him getting tough questions from reporters. Joe Biden's tough questions, you guys, was, what's your favorite ice cream flavor, big guy? What's your favorite ice cream color there, little buddy? So that's what Joe Biden gets, because Trump slips up every now and then. Look, when you're talking for that long and you're interchanging between the Obama administration, which Biden was a part of, and then you're switching to the Biden administration and talking about all these different administrations. It's happened to me here on the show where I've probably called Joe Biden Donald Trump and Obama Joe Biden. I mean, I flipped them up because your head is constantly going, right? You're ahead of what your mouth is speaking, and your train of thought is going miles ahead of what's coming out of your mouth. You're going to misstep every now and then. So Joe Biden, his cognitive ability is not looking good, folks. I mean, this guy, another 4 years, let's be honest. Put the guy away. The Democrat Party needs to set him aside. You've got your use out of the thing. Leave him alone. Let him go off in the sunset with his wife. He ain't going to have a clue which direction the sun is facing. Just leave him be. Well, something we skipped over yesterday regarding this lack of mental acuity. Dude doesn't know where he's at. Probably walks around the White House naked. This gets brought up during March 5th's White House press briefing with Ed after he was talking about the strike force on how the Biden administration wants to limit corporations' ability to dictate what prices should be sold of their goods to consumers. So after that statement, which we covered here, he goes on asking, hey, why does Joe Biden need so many note cards? Like, what's going on with this guy? And dude, she gets freaking triggered right here. Let's roll it.
One more, if I may. The president, I noticed, had note cards at the border when he was doing his briefing there. He also had note cards last Friday with the Italian prime minister. Why does the president rely so heavily on note cards?
You're upset because the president has note cards? You're asking me a question about the president having note cards?
I'm asking why
The
does he rely
president who
so
has
heavily?
had probably one of the most successful first 3 years of an administration than any modern day president. He's done more in the first 3 years than most presidents who had 2 terms. You're asking.
And she believes it. That's the funny thing. She believes it. This knucklehead believes it. Oh, he's done more in 1 term than presidents have done in 8 years in 2 terms. This guy's super successful. She believes it. So wild.
Me about note cards? I don't wait, I'm not speaking to you right now, James. I'm talking to your friend over here, Ed. So thank you so much. But thank you so much for interjecting. Go ahead, Ed.
I was just asking why he relies so heavily on note cards.
I think what's important.
Folks, I told you she is so disrespectful to these reporters in the other day's episode regarding this White House press briefing, because right before this moment, when Ed was talking about the strike force, which I brought up, she goes, oh, well, maybe you missed it or whatever when you were sort of dozing off in the back when you were falling asleep. And now she's going to treat our fellow brother, James Rosen, in the back like this. It's insane how she treats these guys. I honest to God, I don't know why they show her so much respect. I really don't get it, because she is nothing but nasty to these people.
Important here, and what the American people care about is how this president is delivering for them. And that's what he's doing. And that's what's the most important thing here. All right, I'm going to take.
Wild stuff. So again, mental acuity's fine, you guys. He's sharp. He pushes them. He asks the hardball questions. Just, one of my hardball questions is, why are you limiting to the president of the United States between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to meet with the public? Why isn't he going out before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m.? We all know why. Well, we know why, because they told us. They literally told us that's when he's his sharpest. That's when he's at his best. Really, the hours were noon to 4, to be specific. The 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. is old news from Axios, where they couldn't get the guy out of the Oval Office. Well, I shouldn't say Oval Office, the White House, the residency, to be more specific. They couldn't get him out of bed. I mean, come on. I mean, to unhook his CPAP machine that's giving the oxygen and he needs to stay alive. I mean, you can only keep him on it for so long. Well, that leads us to yesterday's White House press briefing, where Peter Doocy was having this exchange with Karine Jean-Pierre about, hey, like, is there going to be a debate between Trump and Biden now the fact that Trump's the nominee? You guys, I'm not exaggerating. He probably asked her 6 to 8 times. Is there going to be a debate? She wouldn't answer it. Is there going to be anything to do with Trump Biden? She would not answer it. About 6 to 8 times. So we jump a little bit later where Peter Doocy brings up the idea of like, hey, well, I mean, is he going to be sharp? Like, is he going to be all there regarding all this stuff that's happening with him running again for president against Joe Biden? So this whole idea of his cognition level gets brought up here.
Arguments. You were talking about his attendance. You need to talk to the campaign.
Here about these polls concerning the president's age and his acuity. Do you think that it is going to quiet concerns about the president's age and acuity if he decides not to debate?
What I can say about that is not talking about the debate. That's something for the campaign to speak to. Not going to speak about that. To your question about age, I think I sort of answered that. I mean, you know, you're going to see the State of the Union tomorrow. You're going to hear the president lay out his plans. You're going to hear the president.
Should we go live on the State of the Union? Should we sit there and call out Joe Biden in real time together as a community? Maybe a glass of whiskey, maybe some coffee or tea, whatever your liking is. I know some of us are, we don't drink anymore. Kudos to you, but some of us do. Should we watch it together as a community and just ream this guy? Let me know in the comment section below. Heck, we might just do it. We might just do it, folks.
President who has had a successful 3 years of progress. Still a lot more work to be done, but a progress nonetheless, and how he's going to build on that. Bless you.
So it ends there. They start laughing. It's amazing how they're like, oh, well, it's progress. Some of the messaging coming from this White House is, well, we need 4 more years to get the job done. That's the phrase. We need 4 more years to get the job done. We're just in a transition phase, you guys, which is what they've been saying since COVID, since Jen Psaki was on that podium. We're in a transition phase. Transitioning into what? You're targeting corporations. You're going after Christians. You're using the IRS to go after your political opponents. You're using the justice system to go after your political opponents. That's why everyone's calling it a banana republic. You got massive foreign wars taking place all over the globe. I mean, there's so many things going on, and she's going to sit there and tout, well, things are fine. President has so much to brag about. The State of the Union is going to be brilliant. What couldn't he talk about? What is he going to talk about? That's the question. Like, he's going to brag about how he made 14 million new jobs somehow, which is a bunch of baloney. Strongest economy we've ever seen. She's bragging, saying this guy's done more in 3 years than any president's ever done in 2 terms. It's insane. I know it's insane. Well, speaking of other insane things, you guys, House GOP passes $460 billion package of spending bills ahead of partial shutdown deadline. You guys, we're spending more money that we don't have. Look, I separate the reason why I'm a conservative versus me being Republican. I'm a fiscal conservative, okay? I don't like us spending $460 billion of money that we don't have. We're 34 trillion with a T in debt. You guys don't understand. It's not like this goes away, folks. You're going to pay it back. I'm going to pay it back. Or somebody after us that's American is going to pay this back. You think taxes are high right now. You think you're feeling it coming from behind right now. Wait till your grandchildren are going to be taxed like 90%, not getting a Social Security, but still paying into that Social Security. It's insane, man. So the GOP-led House passed a 6-bill package, reportedly worth like $460 billion on Wednesday that seeks to fund part of the federal government through the remainder of the 2024 fiscal year, meaning this does nothing. It just gets us to the end of the year, and then we're going to kick the can down the road once again. Folks, it passed 339 to 85. Jeez Louise. So 6 appropriation spending bills advanced out of the House, which is GOP held, Republican held. And these Republicans go, oh, well, we're fiscally conservative. We care about the budget. You're blowing the budget out of the freaking water. And so this has ramifications. It has negative consequences. Specifically, one of the primary concerns, which I've highlighted, is the impact of the package on our national freaking debt, which exceeds $34 trillion. And critics are arguing that the package, although made some cuts, which we'll get to in a second, continues to spend heavily, contributing to further debt without, by the way, adequately addressing fiscal responsibility. They don't actually address anything of, well, how do we figure this out? How do we stop spending more money than what we actually have? Maybe passing a piece of legislation that says, hey, we don't spend more than what we have. You need one sentence, you guys. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate here. Just one sentence. They're not going to do it, of course, because it's not their money. It's our money. and we're getting shafted. Furthermore, like I said, there's impacts on federal agencies, so there was some good in this if we had to look for some positives. The package reportedly imposes sharp cuts on several key agencies. You guys are going to like this one. The EPA is getting a cut, which is nice. The ATF, which is getting a cut, is nice. I mean, the guy running the ATF, which we just saw in yesterday's episode, hell, he didn't even know the difference between a clip and a magazine was. This is the guy running the ATF. Folks, it's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms and explosives. But the guy doesn't know anything about firearms. He's leading the show. And also, we're getting cuts to the FBI, which is nice because the FBI has gone down the pooper. These cuts could potentially affect the agency's ability to fulfill their mandates, impacting environmental protection efforts. The one that I would have really liked to see here was really just a kick in the nuts to the IRS. You know what I mean? Like, we're really just hounding them. I know they got a cut already based on what happened with the Speaker Johnson and stuff like that, but I would have loved to just see those three-letter words in there. It's nice seeing the EPA in there for sure, because the EPA doesn't do anything other than hound people for polluting. You know what? If the EPA really wanted to do something good for this world and this country, go to China, India. You know, they're polluting more than anybody else. Also, Second Amendment rights for veterans. So the inclusion of provisions that block the Biden administration from potentially restricting Second Amendment rights for veterans is controversial. While some view that's a victory for gun rights, others may be concerned about the broader implications for gun control and public safety, especially considering the complex issues surrounding veterans, mental health, and access to firearms. Furthermore, you got free speech and parental rights issues being funded in this damn thing. Veterans health care funding, which is nice, but check this out. The full funding of veterans health care is a positive aspect of the package, obviously. However, key note here, the broader context of the budget cuts and shifts and priorities raises questions about the sustainability of the funding, folks. So be careful here. I'm trying to break this down for you. Folks, it's 6 bills. I'm giving you the bullet points of what I read through this damn thing. Also, the environmental and public health implications. Basically, what it was talking about was these deep cuts with the EPA and other adjustments in the package actually may lead to concerns about long-term effects on environmental protection. Oh, whoopee. Oh, God, that's so terrible. As you can tell, I'm not a big fan of the EPA. I love recycling. I love taking care of the weather. I love clean energy. I love clean weather, folks. Nuclear power is the cleanest. But there's a way to go about it. And all the red tape on companies ends up hurting them more than it does actually helping them. That doesn't come from me. That actually comes from the companies themselves. When I used to audit them, like, you would have these manifolds that would go on top of these, basically these exhaust systems coming out of these furnaces and just pipes. And they said, look, you know, we're being forced to do this, and it's actually eaten away into our R&D, or basically our budget, to try and fulfill these, you know, mandates by the government. And they say it's just absolutely killing us right now as a business. And I said, you know, well, what would have happened if they didn't have done that? They go, well, we would have gotten there anyways. We were already looking into, you know, making this more environmentally friendly, because that's kind of what our consumers want. But throwing this down and pushing us as hard as you are, meaning coming from the government, has actually hindered our business and hurt us at the end of the day, where we've had to lay off people because we're having to spend money to try to get this pushed out as quickly as possible. So this has a lot of effects that I don't like for businesses, and businesses don't like them. They want to go towards clean energy because it's just a good thing to do. But, you know, the government wants to always come down on corporations and individuals any way they can, because they want to limit your liberties and freedoms. Well, speaking of liberties and freedoms, folks, you got the Houthis here attacking ships once again. And the White House calls on the world leaders to help stop reckless Houthi attacks after civilian sailors were killed. Folks, we'll hear from the White House in a second. And just the rhetoric from the White House is insane. If you recall, the Houthis attacked us and our allies over 127 times before the White House did anything. Well, what were they doing before that, Brad? Oh, good question, because I actually saw the White House speak on this a bunch of times. Don't do that, was their response. Not a joke. That was their response. Please stop. Don't do that anymore. We're going to do something. Please stop. Don't do that anymore. We're going to do something. 127 times. And then what they did after that 127 times, they were bombing just empty buildings that were used as an armory, but they haven't been used for an armory for an exceedingly long time. It's just empty. Nothing happened. You're just bombing empty buildings that are made of probably mud, like a hut. Now, I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? I'm joking, but, you know, it was a waste of, you know, probably, I don't know, a few $1 million of a missile. So then they go attack us once again in our merchant vessels. You got guys that are dying, Americans that are dying. They're attacking our military installations in Iraq. So finally they did something, which was not much, And so now the Houthis are still doing this, even though the Biden administration supposedly sent a message. The message from the White House, oh, you'll know. Oh, you'll know when we're going to go after them. Oh, they'll wake up. They'll stop doing it. Oh, sure. So the White House officials are calling on governments now around the world to join efforts to stop Iranian-backed Houthi rebels from attacking cargo ships in the Middle East after 3 civilians were killed Wednesday when missiles were fired from the terrorist group struck a bulk carrier transitioning the area of the Red Sea. So they're still going after us. And this got brought up in yesterday's White House press briefing from Ed, I think his name's Ed O'Keefe, going, hey, I kind of want to piggyback on the other guy's question regarding the Houthis. Like, what's going on with that? What's the White House's message here? Watch how lackluster she is on this. 3 people just died. They're sinking ships. They're going after our merchant vessels. They're attacking our military installations. Our military personnel are being affected by this. Like, just nonchalant. Here we go.
Continuing on the Houthis, why is the U.S. Navy having so little effect on stopping these kinds of attacks from happening?
So as I was answering the question to Jordan a second ago, I'm not going to get into specific intelligence here, but broadly speaking, we know that the strikes have indeed impacted on degrading their capabilities, and that's important. We have taken out...
How? They just killed 3 people with a missile. What do you mean it's impacted their capabilities? What, because they're at 100%, you dropped it to like 70, but they're still throwing missiles at people and killing people around the world? Still performing terrorist attacks everywhere, going after our merchant vessels, our allies' vessels, hell, everybody's vessels? How can you say that you're impacting their military implications, or whatever the hell you just said, and at the same time they just killed 3 people, sinking ships?
Significant amount of Houthi weapons, and our military is regularly destroying Houthi missiles, and when they're being loaded and prepared to launch, but before they can actually be fired at commercial ships. So that's what we've been able to do. So we will continue to act as needed to degrade the Houthis' capabilities, and this is a process. This is a process here.
Does the U.S. Still hold Iran responsible for these attacks?
It hasn't changed. Our stance on that has not changed.
And what would happen if the Houthis hit a U.S. naval ship?
You've seen us respond when you saw 3 military members were killed not too long ago. You saw our response. So the president is also the commander-in-chief, as you know, and he understands that responsibility.
And just to button up one thing on Haiti.
It really shook their boots, you guys. The Houthis must be so fearful from Joe Biden's response, so much so that, God, they're still doing exactly what they were doing before. So clearly your message wasn't strong enough because they're continuing to do it. I don't know when they're going to wrap their head around this, but I like the idea that he asked about the Iranians because, again, they're getting $6 billion of your hard-earned money going to humanitarian aid. Again, I'm not against humanitarian aid. I would just like the process of them getting it to be a little bit better. And the fact that we're funding another government here and their citizens, basically, and that shores up $6 billion of fungible funds to go to, I don't know, terrorism, which is what they are funding. It's not us saying that. Hell, the Iranians themselves say that. Their Ayatollah Supreme leader is just vocal about it. Folks, these are the same people that have parades in the streets chanting death to America all the time. They say this in their chambers, in their government. Hell, the guys come out and said that death to America is not a slogan. It's a policy here in Iran. We're giving people money that want to freaking kill you. It's insane. It's insane. It is. Look, it is. Do people need money? Do people need help? Yes, of course. But it's insane. If somebody said, let's say you saw this dude that was living down the street and go, I'm going to kill your entire family. Death to whatever your last name is, the Smith family, right? Would you go and you see them struggling a little bit, you know what I mean? They can't really get groceries or whatever, they're making it by, but, nobody else is really helping them. And then somebody goes, hey, you should help the Smiths. You should give them your money. You're kind of struggling to pay your bills. You're in debt, $34 trillion in debt. You get the idea. Would you give them money knowing that they want to kill you and your family? Now, would it help them out? Of course it would. Of course it would. Maybe they got some cousin and aunts and uncles that live with them that could really use the money that don't want to kill your family. Could they use it? Of course. Just an analogy. Just, hey, food for thought. Food for thought. Well, it's true. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. I don't feel like I am. But hell, we say a lot of crazy things here on the show. It's entertainment, folks. It's entertainment. before we go into our last article here regarding people just mocking Joe Biden, which is always fun. Again, new membership level, folks. Bald Brad Army, 99 cents. Get on that deal, folks. Get on the deal. Because this podcast, at least the main podcast, is going to members only starting on Monday. So join that $9.99, folks. YouTube does not, I would have put it cheaper. YouTube just doesn't allow me. It's $9.99. People go, well, isn't free cheap? Yes, but if it's free, then it'll just be out there to the public for everybody. We got to have a little protection here. Little protection. But would love for you guys to join. So again, it's not always about money. Okay. It's about us as a community. I think that's the bigger point here. And also, in order for us to continue to do the show, that's a maneuver that I think is a necessary one. And there'll still be videos throughout the day, of course. It's not all limited to members, but heck, if you're giving your hard-earned money here, 99 cents or even $9.99, which is the highest tier, you deserve some perks. I think it's a great perk at the end of the day. So, last story of the day, the State of the Union. Joey here. Look at him. I can't help but laugh. Oh, this poor frail guy. So, right here, he is doing his prep for tonight's State of the Union address. And people are ripping this guy hard. So President Joe Biden shared a photo of himself, as you do, on Monday doing some prep work for Thursday's, meaning today's, planned State of the Union address, prompting a long string of mocking replies. I'll see if I can zoom in on here on all of this stuff. So there's a photo here taken of Joe Biden. And for those on audio, it says State of the Union prep. Get ready, folks. And the font is insane. He has like 6 sentences there. And we'll see if we get a better grab of this for y'all so you can actually see a little bit better. If I didn't have, there we go. There we go. So yeah, it doesn't really work that much better. But it says here, good evening, my fellow Americans, period. Probably in like 18 font plus. Mr. Speaker, Madam President, members of Congress and the cabinet, military leaders, distinguished guests. Folks, by the way, all of this is just right in front of them visibly. I mean, you are literally looking at Congress. You're looking at military leaders. You're looking at the cabinet. You're looking at probably the Supreme Court justices. I mean, all of this, I mean, I get that you'll have it on teleprompter to be safe, especially for Joe, but it's just something that, hell, you could just wing at the end of the day. Well, the font, the how big everything is, people are ripping this guy, right? So some people said, dude can't fit a full sentence on a page because the font has to be so big. Get ready, folks. Hey, just let's have a little fun here. Just a little fun. Throw out a number, put it in the comment section, not the live chat, but the comment section. How many times do you think Joe's gonna kind of fumble, misspeak, fight with this teleprompter? I'm gonna throw out 24. I'm gonna throw out 24 times. I don't know how long this speech is gonna be. Look, it's actually not that much paper. I don't think this is gonna be a very long speech. I think he'll drag it out because of the mumbling and the slurring. But can you imagine if the teleprompter goes down, it's game over. Teleprompter goes down. If you want to sabotage this guy, just unplug the teleprompter. It doesn't have to be anything malicious. It's game over. So you have Senator Eric Schmidt added, Americans have seen a preview. We're good. He also shared a screenshot of a recent Fox News poll, which is just shattering, showing how Americans felt about Biden's economy. Folks, 52% of Democrats say that the economy is in bad condition. Look at the Republicans and independents. Dude, 92% of Republicans, which is only a plus or minus 4%. So at the worst case scenario, you're looking at 88% of Republicans think it's going in a bad direction. Dude, 81% of freaking independents. Normally, the economy is something that you should be riding on. To be quite honest, I mean, if you look at it in terms of the stock market, and I think we're in a bubble, the stock market is actually doing pretty good, to be honest. Now, I don't think that's attributed to Joe Biden. I think we're in a bubble, and I think there's many reasons for that. One of them could be attributed to Joe Biden for pumping the economy full of trillions of dollars, which caused inflation. But now the fact that the Federal Reserve jumped in and brought that down, I think there's a lot of reasons, but it's just insane. 52% of Democrats. Who are the other 48? Like, who are you? Are you in here? Hello? Like, who are they, honestly? So you got more people posting, though, or we're not done yet. I mean, the mockery on Twitter was insane. So somebody wrote, where are the instructions on how to get on and off the stage? That's kind of a callback from when Joe Biden had the note card that told him to sit down. Really, it told him to enter the room, sit down, take a breath, say hello. You guys remember that note card that he carried and everybody zoomed in? They got a picture of it. Kind of the same idea here. Dude is posting like a college girl who skipped class all semester and needs to send a pic to her parents of her studying for finals. It's pretty good. Somebody posted it. So somebody like photoshopped this and took out all like the writing. What is he reading? Not out of the realm of him reading it upside down or a blank page. He'll try to do anything and everything to just get by here. This one's perfect. This is my favorite. My name is Joe Biden. He'll still mess it up. My name is Jill Biden. Oh, God. So people are just laying into him. Somebody said vote Republican 24. Yes, vote Republican, please, for the love of God, for the sake of the country. I'm not really an alarmist. I think that we could survive another 4 years, to be honest, because I think our Constitution, our founding documents, and us as Americans, we're pretty resilient. And I would like to think at the end of the day, we do have common values in terms of the direction that we believe the country should go in the broad sense. I understand that a lot of these Democrats have gone further left than Republicans have gone further right. But I do want to believe, and maybe I'm just being optimist rather than a pessimist, but I really would like to think that our country is still grounded in a standard, and that standard is our founding ideals: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Everybody's created equal in this country. You know, the Bill of Rights. I mean, what we have shrined in the Constitution. And the reason why I'm saying that is just based on the Supreme Court's decision, that 9-0 victory for Trump the other day, saying that, look, you could be on the ballot. It's insane that states are trying to say that. I think it's a big victory, and at least brings home the fact that we haven't gone fully insane here as a country, or at least as much as we think we have. So we're going to see what happens with the State of the Union address. If you guys want to go live tonight, let me know. If we don't get a lot of people in the comment section saying, yes, go live, I'll be there, then I'm not going to do it. Okay. It's time out of the day, baby. I want to spend it with you, but I also want to spend it with you. Like if I'm in there by myself, twiddling my thumbs, laughing, having my own cup of coffee or whatever I'm be drinking, that's not very fun. So if you guys are willing to join, depends how many people we got. I'll go ahead and fire the bad boy up, meaning the computer and the laptop and all laptop. I don't even have a laptop. Why the hell did I say that? The computer, the camera, the mic, and we'll do it. Again, folks, 99-cent membership tier. We have 99-cent. That's just to kind of get everybody in, the regular viewers. We're not trying to break the pocketbook here. Is it called a pocketbook? A wallet? You know what I'm referring to. We're not trying to break the bank at the end of the day. Then there's a $4.99 tier and a $9.99 if you want to super sane. It's called super fan. You want to go fully insane. It's all monthly. Hopefully we can afford 99 cents. If not, I totally get it, folks. It's Bidenomics. Things are tough right now. And hell, a box of cereal $6.99. It's insane. So I understand. And some people just don't want to, and I totally get that. Don't feel like you have to. I love you guys regardless. I know you love me. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I love you guys, and I feel the love all coming from you. So I know it's not the most ideal thing, but with that being said, folks, I will see you maybe later tonight. Hell, for sure tomorrow I'm all confused. Where are we at? I'll see you tonight, possibly, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for a Friday episode. With that being said, folks, I'll see you later here on the Bull Brad Show.